Okay, so welcome to this first podcast with our guest Imthiaz. Hopefully I didn't butcher the last name there, but he's a client I would consider a friend. Hopefully he reciprocates. And yeah, we're just gonna sit down for a bit of time here and just go over his story because he's had quite a crazy one. Not a lot of people that I've spoken with or worked with have such a crazy story like him. And yeah, we're just gonna chat and keep things casual. So yeah, you want to say hi to the audience?
What's going on, guys? And yes, Jay, you are a friend. I do class you as a friend. It is reciprocated. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. So let's just get right into things. You're sitting at dinner, you're sitting opposite your younger self. What is one thing, and I know this is said a lot in podcasts, but what is one thing that you would tell him that would be able to, let's say, speed up his progress, be able to reach the point where you are today?
It's an interesting one for me, this, because I'm of the belief that as a man, you only learn through hardship. Some things you can't be told.
Yeah.
You have to feel certain things. And because I know myself, and even speaking to my younger self,
yeah,
it'd be difficult for me to give some advice. I mean, I would give advice, of course. Yeah. Educate yourself, make sure you invest in that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the main advice I would probably give now to think of it, is don't wait for calamity to strike before you take action and change the route that you're on. Because that was me before. I'd wait till shit hits the fan and then I'd be like, ooh, not going to do that again. And then,
yeah,
go ahead.
I think it's human nature to like touch the burning surface and to realize, that's not what I should do. Do you think those things can be avoided? Or do you think people have to, for example, let's say someone wants to lose weight or someone wants to reach a certain outcome. Sometimes they have to hit 300 pounds before they feel that burn. And some hit it a bit earlier. So do you think everyone has their standard or their thing?
Yeah, definitely. I think people have got their pain threshold. People have got that pain threshold. And even with coaching, even with weight loss, for me, I can remember must have been 22, 23. I seen a friend that I haven't seen in a while. And I wasn't really out of shape. But he was like, what the fuck have you done to yourself? And that for me was painful enough. Are you with me? For some people, their pain threshold is actually really, 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 really high. And that paired with the fear of change is a really dangerous recipe, which then prolongs the point at which people take action.
Yeah.
So yes, I do believe that. Very few people learn from observing and taking note of where other people have stumbled. Very few. I'm talking very, very few. But then also with those people, they are very risk averse. They kind of coward and they don't really roll the dice. So it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one for me because one of my biggest beliefs is just keep going until you fuck up and then resolve it. Because I was that guy. I was told all my life, make sure, you don't do certain things. And I was like, no, I know better.
Yeah.
And I'm talking in every avenue of my life.
Yeah.
To the point where it landed me in jail. Are you with me? So I can give advice on certain areas, but the best advice I could probably give is don't wait until you get burnt to change tax. That's what it would be.
So in some sense, it's have humility, right? It's having the knowledge that you don't know everything and that you should take advice from your elders and you should ask for help. Is that kind of?
Yeah. Once again, it goes back to if you're speaking to a certain personality type, especially the certain personality type that I am and I was, it can fall on deaf ears. And I had some of the greatest advice. I just didn't take it.
I think so. People, like, first of all, where do you think that came from? Like, I wouldn't say it's stubbornness or thinking you can do better, but where do you think that came from? Do you think it's your environment that you grew up? Or what was that?
I wasn't impressed, and I wasn't impressed and I wasn't satisfied, and it didn't appeal to me, the life that the people were living, that the advice came from. Does that make sense? The people who were giving the advice weren't living a lifestyle or in a way that I found that I admired as an individual. Are you with me?
100%.
So the advice may have been sound. The advice may have been really, really good. But because it was coming from somebody that I didn't admire, I didn't aspire to be like, I wasn't an inspiration to me as such, even though the advice was great, because they weren't modeling a certain behavior, for me, it was really hard to take. I was like, what the fuck do you know? What the fuck do you know?
That totally makes sense because, for the audience, right, you modeled people that on the surface level maybe had the money, the fast cars, but it ended up you doing criminal activity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Explain that to the audience.
Yeah. So as a young guy, I grew up in an area that wasn't really, it was a poor area. There was a lot of crime. And the people who went to uni, studied and went to uni and got jobs, they were being dictated to. And I saw them as being almost like a slave.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can describe it. And they weren't able to do what they wanted to do, or deep down what they wanted to do. They weren't able to go after what they truly desired because they were shackled in some sort of way. And the guys who weren't shackled were the guys who bent or broke the rules. So I was like, okay, if it takes me to bend or break the rules to get what I want and where I want to be, I'm going to do whatever it takes. And I don't care. I don't care what it takes. I'm going to do whatever it takes. So I admired guys who, with the cars, with the jewelry, with the cash, with the respect, irregardless of the way that they got that. That's what I looked up to. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Because the people who went the other route didn't have those things. They weren't an inspiration to me.
Yeah.
And because I was a young guy, I'm talking from the age of like 10, I was looking at seeing these people, I was like, yeah, man, that's what I want, a piece of that life. I want to be like that. What that entailed to the fullest extent, I wasn't aware of at that time. But that's kind of what drove me and my decision-making process. I mean, in school, I wasn't stupid. In fact, I was pretty bright. But I made a conscious decision. This route isn't for me. It's not going to get me to where I want to be. And the other path is what I chose.
Yeah. Sebastian, you got anything to add? Any questions or something?
I can actually ask another question if you're cool with that.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Did you ask the second question if your goals and aspirations had no ceiling? Where do you envision base alpha would be?
I don't believe there's a ceiling. The only ceiling or the only bottleneck is me. If I stop my personal development, if I stop learning, if I stop developing myself as an individual and think, yeah, I've got it all sussed, I understand it all, I know it all, that's when my business stops growing. Now, the real question here is, what are the real limitations that you believe that can be put on you? I don't think there is. As long as I'm chasing progression, learning, bettering myself in every single domain of my life, my business as a byproduct is going to grow. I'll be able to bring more to market. And that's what any successful business is. It's a direct representation and reflection of the founder.
100%. Sorry, real quick, when did you, do you notice in certain aspects, like your mental state of when you're kind of not progressing and when you are, what is the difference between that? Is it just you're doing the habits, you're sticking to the habits, or is it something else?
The thing with habits, they don't all slip at the same time. You'll get up a little bit later.
Yeah.
And then you might skip that first meal. Then you might not go to the gym. Then you might be on your phone a little bit longer. So everything affects everything else. So when I notice something slipping, that's when I know, okay, I need to reset. I need to go back to my schedule. I need to reset things again. I need to get excited again. I need to build excitement. because excitement it drives motivation. I do believe you can create motivation. This whole thing about discipline versus motivation is false. They work together.
Yeah.
When motivation dips, discipline takes over, but the discipline muscle it can only be used sparingly. Motivation comes from progress. We're men. We love progress. We like looking at numbers and facts that show that we are getting better. You know, it's like I box. I go boxing now and then. If I kept getting punched in the face with the same punch from the same person again and again and again, over time, I'm not going to be motivated to go.
Yeah.
So you've got to make sure that you are winning and give yourself the best chance to win. When something does slip, rectify that immediately, because it will have a knock-on effect. It won't catch you now. It might catch you 3 months down the line or 6 months down the line.
Yeah.
But once you do notice those chinks in your armor, have that self-awareness to go back and think, okay, I snoozed my alarm today.
Yeah.
Why? Was it the meal I had last night? Was on my phone too much?
Yeah.
And then go and rectify that. Because the longer you go without reflecting and rectifying, other things are going to start to go. And then over time, no wonder you're going to feel that shit. No wonder your business is going to be progressing the way that you want it to progress. So it does, just to answer your question, yeah, habits are important. If you look at the most productive people, the people who achieve great things in business or sport or whatever it might be, any endeavor, they are a direct reflection of their habits.
Yeah.
That is the equation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to give some context to the audience. So obviously you messed up in your early 20s. You went away to jail. For how many years was it again?
So I got sentenced when I was 26.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you got people who are going to listen to this from all over the world. So in the UK, you have whatever they sentence you to, you serve half in custody and half in the community, depending on your conviction. If it's a violent crime, sometimes you can do 2/3. A life sentence means you do your entire tariff and then probation. So with myself, with there being a drugs offence, I served half of the 7-year sentence in prison, and then I'm just finishing off the rest of it in the community where I've got to go probation, XYZ.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. That gives a bit of context. So for the audience listening, in the first year where you got out, you started your business, you started Base Alpha, you turned around 6 figures. For some people that
I'm just going to correct it there. So Base Alpha itself didn't start till a year after. So that was like the second year. What I did was, initially, once I got out, I was a 1-to-1 PT in person.
Yeah.
Built up a portfolio, put in the long yards, waking up early, not getting home from the gym till late, doing that stuff. And then Base Alpha, the plan was always to go online.
Yeah.
Once I built a portfolio and had the experience with working with people 1-to-1, I then transitioned online. And it was in that second year, the first year of Base Alpha, where I hit 6 figures.
Gotcha. Cool. Makes sense. So some people obviously watching that are going to look up to you. And going back on the previous question, some people have habits, but they mess up. They skip the gym, they sleep in, they get home from work and they just tired. They can't work on their business. What is your hard reset? What is something that can get you in the mental state of not having a negative spiral, but catch yourself and get back on track?
It's weekly reflection. So at the end of the week, I do a weekly review and then set the plan for the following week. And then I'll review that week again. I'll notice patterns. Like this week, me and you spoke before we started recording. You said to me, your energy's off a little bit. Hopefully it's not off now.
No.
But that was because I told you, I front-loaded the week too heavily. By the time I got to Wednesday, I was grinding. Thursday, I felt like shit. And today, I'm absolutely exhausted.
Yeah.
So that's, because I'm reviewing, because I'm journaling every day, I can then go back and be like, okay, my energy's off. I rate myself out of 10 when I wake up in the morning. Where's the energy today? Okay. I can see by Wednesday, my energy's off. I'm at a 6. I'm at a 5. Okay. What happened? It's the same with any business. You're going to review data. You are your business, you know?
Yeah.
So you've got to review yourself. You've got to have data on yourself. Even though it is very subjective based off how you feel, it's data nonetheless. If you notice a pattern, you know, by Wednesday, Thursday, I'm fucked. Like I said to you before we got on camera, next Thursday, I'm taking the day off. Don't bother me.
Yeah.
We'll see how I feel. I'll see if I get more done. If you're not doing that on a weekly basis, then on a monthly basis, then on a 45-day basis, and then on a quarterly basis, what you're going to have to do at some point, maybe 6 months down the line, is completely turn the ship around.
Yeah.
Why not make it easy for yourself where you're just touching, directing as you go, instead of making these big seismic shifts? So review and analysis is key. You've got to treat yourself like you would your business.
Yeah.
The same way that you look at your revenue and your profit margins and your bottom line every month. Some people might look at it every week. Some people might look at it every day.
Yeah.
Why aren't you doing the same for yourself? If people know that their business is a direct reflection of them, why are you not doing that? The root cause is you. The bottleneck 99.9% of the time is the founder.
Yeah.
Why is that not being assessed? Why is the data not being collected on them? And it's hard to reflect on yourself and hold your hand up and be like, yo, I was shit this week. But then there's got to be something constructive that comes off the back of that. Why was I off? What happened? How did I deal with certain situations? Were my habits off? Was I staying up a bit too late? That way you can when you zoom out and over a span of time, you're going to have much better results than if you just go with the flow.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people, especially people that are ambitious, they sometimes struggle with saying, I messed up, I was wrong. And they don't want to do that self-reflection because they realize, they have to kind of confront that pain and those slip-ups. Is that something that you I guess coach people with? Is that something that people miss? Is that self-reflection, that honesty?
Yeah. And that's one of the key elements of what I do with my clients. They are told to and taught how to, because some people don't know how to self-reflect, to build that self-awareness, to see their diminishing efforts and their poor performance as a signal. It's a signal. Okay. And then that signals what needs to be, that signal is, it's like an alarm going off. Something needs to be fixed. Something's off here.
Yeah.
Don't accept and get down about it. It's fixable. Everything's fixable. You can resolve any issue. And as human beings, we have set systems and set procedures that we go through every single day. When you get out of bed, the sock that you put on in the morning might be your right. It might always be your right.
Yeah.
Which hand you hold a toothbrush with, the side that you start brushing your teeth. These are all pre-programmed things.
And
so
if you sometimes it's hard to see it yourself, right? You need that coaching.
Yeah. And that's, these are ingrained patterns that you've got of behavior that you've got in your mind. And a lot of us live our lives on autopilot because the brain is lazy. The brain wants the path of least resistance. So if we know this to be a fact, how about we reprogram the brain? How about we reprogram your habits? It's going to give you a different output.
Sure.
So that's...
Yeah, like coming with this whole autopilot thing, like the steps to be successful or to achieve your goals, it's no secret. The books are out there, the information is out there, but there's this kind of mislink with, people know what to do, they read the information, they go through YouTube, do whatever, but they can't break themselves out of this state of being in autopilot. What do you suggest people to do watching this, or even with your clients? Like, what is the first thing that you tackle for people to break out of that state of living every single day the same habits, being on autopilot, to breaking out and taking those first steps to realizing that they can live their life by design and they can reach their goals? What is those first initial steps?
Funny you should ask that question, because I was on a call with a brain coach early in the week, Amy Porter. And she reminded me of some of the material and some of the knowledge that I had previously. And the first thing is self-awareness. You've got to know that what you are doing is suboptimal, isn't conducive with your goals. That's one thing. You have to have that self-awareness. Okay. Without that, we can't work. Okay. By the time somebody comes to me, comes through my door, they're aware that there is a problem that needs resolving. Okay, cool. After that is, what is the behavior what is the thing that we want to stop doing? And what is the thing that we want to start doing? Because a lot of the time you've got to start with taking things off your plate. We've got to, there's no light without dark. What do we need to stop? What do we need to replace it with? Cool. Both of those things are going to take constant, consistent attention in the beginning.
Yeah.
And don't overload your plate with, I'm going to sort all my diet, I'm going to sort all my sleep, I'm going to start going to the gym, I'm going to start reading 10 pages of a book, I'm going to start meditating, I'm going to have cold showers, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. No, one thing at a time, because your brain gets confused, like, what do you want me to do right now? That's what overwhelm is. It's a bunch of decisions trying to be made at the same time. One thing at a time. So what do we need to stop doing? What do we need to start doing? Let's say waking up, for example, without snoozing your alarm. Okay? So the thing that we need to stop doing is stop hitting snooze. And then in terms of getting up, how are we going to facilitate that? A method, a circuit break, count down from 5 could be a method. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm up, out. We've got to be very conscious, and place consistent effort on that in the beginning. And it's hard first thing in the morning, you're groggy, man. Was having that awareness. It's about the night before, understanding I'm going to be tired. I'm going to want to hit the snooze. I'm going to want to stay in bed 9 minutes longer.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to want these things. But if I also piled on top of that, you've also got to get to the gym after that, and you've got to prep your meals. Overwhelm. One thing. Okay, so tomorrow's objective is don't press that button. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up. Let's do that for a few more days. Cool. Okay. I'm getting up now. I'm not having to count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm not having to do that. I'm getting up. Right. Okay. I'm not having to I have to place as much conscious effort on this action. It's becoming a pathway. It's becoming a change behavior. It's becoming easier. Okay, cool. What's the next thing I want to do? So on and so forth. So that's how you stack habits. That's how you build habits. Awareness, remove one thing and add one thing at a time. In the beginning, you're going to have to pay attention to it. A lot of attention.
Yeah.
It's going to take a lot of your bandwidth. Now, over time, it becomes easier because your brain wants ease. Your brain actually uses up around about, I think it's 20% of your energy.
Yeah.
So
I think, sorry, don't want to cut you off there. When it comes to people, like you said, a lot of people struggle with that overwhelm. And they look at other people and they're like looking at their level 100 where they're on level 1. And they don't understand how to break down goals into smaller checkpoints. For example, like you said, when you get up, the first thing you need to focus on is stop hitting snooze. It's not about what you're going to wear or all of that stuff. It's just hitting that very first step.
Just get that first win.
Yeah.
Get that first win. Make that first win as soon as you can. But some people might be able to get up. Somebody else might be eating junk food at night. So address one area, address one thing at a time. Once that becomes easier, because the brain will recognize a certain pattern, because your life currently is a representation and manifestation of your thoughts that you take action on. They are your thoughts that you take action on. And your brain will only take action on the thoughts that it's most comfortable and easiest for it to do, the one that it's done before previously, plenty of times. So in the beginning, it's going to be hard. It's like, she gave me the example of a cornfield. When you go through a cornfield, what you see in the movies, the first time you go through one, you're probably going to have to chop it down with a machete. and you'd have to fight your way through and claw your way through. Okay. If you go through it the next day, it's going to be a little bit easier, to the point where you're 2 or 3 months down the line and it's just like a normal walk, because you've, chopped out the path. Yeah. But if you were to step away from that and come back a few months after that, the cornfield will be back to how it was, and you'll have to do it again, and it becomes harder again. So your brain works in the same way. You've got to tread the path. You've got to walk the path regularly.
Yeah. It's just repetition. I remember when a few years ago, I wanted to have a good morning routine. I wanted to get up. So what I did, I also watched something about this, but I pretended like it was the morning. So I got into bed, pretended it was the morning. I got up, I walked to the bathroom, I brushed my teeth, had a shower, whatever, go down, have my gym stuff ready. And I did that like 3-4 times. And my brain was already familiar of that path. And then I thought, I also memorized, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. And all of a sudden it was way easier the next morning for me to do it, because my brain's already recognized it and I already know the pattern. It's the same, like if you want to go to the gym, just put on your shoes and walk downstairs or walk outside your house and then go back upstairs again. Like you don't even have to, it's just getting that. And chances are you walk downstairs and you'll be like, I'm already down here, might as well go. It's just getting that first little bit of a breakthrough.
Yeah, your brain is a pattern recognition machine. So whatever you feed it, that's what you're going to get. So bang on. That's a great way of doing it. Rehearse. Definitely.
For sure. I wanted to take a little 360 here. You've got a son, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
What values and what things are you putting importance on to make him a successful man, or to make him achieve his goals? What are the things that you're focusing on when raising him? Is there something that, you're putting a lot of value on, or are you just taking it day by day? What does that look like?
The main principle, the main value is integrity.
Yeah.
Doing what is required, not what is easy. Doing what you say you would do.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, because I think everything rests on top of that. Treating people well, being capable, being physically able, being smart. Everybody has the same goals, pretty much. Everybody has the same goals. Everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to be liked and admired, etc. But how is that done? The thing that rests on is integrity, is doing what you say you're going to do. The people who don't become successful, the people who don't become, admired and likable and capable, they had the same goals as the people who did. But the only difference was integrity, the follow through. So that's the main thing, I believe, the main value that I'm embedding and ingraining in Zach's mind.
Yeah. So it's when you say something, to not lie to yourself and actually pull through.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that like your clients or people that you work with, is that something that they struggle with? They tell themselves, I'm going to do this, and they just don't follow through?
Yeah. I mean, we all do it at times, right? We all do it at times. But if you've got a rule, so my rule is, if it leaves my mouth, it's got to happen.
Yeah.
If those words leave my lips, it must happen. So for me, if I really need to do something, I won't keep it to myself. I'll tell someone. It holds me accountable. And that is definitely something that the guys that I work with initially struggle with. They've tried on their own before. They're the sort of people that can't keep promises to themselves that nobody else knows about. And it's easy to let yourself down.
For sure.
So you've got somebody in the corner. And
there's not enough on the line. That's actually a perfect segue, because I've got a quote by you, or like a text by you that you posted.
Okay.
After every win, there's a come down. The one thing you've relentlessly chased doesn't give you the satisfaction you thought it would. That hollow feeling, It's disempowering. You made it about you, not about them. But when your mission is to serve, the work is never done. There's no emptiness, no letdown, only purpose. So the question is, who are you really doing this for? Do you think the key to actually keeping yourself accountable is doing this for other people, is for putting more on the line?
Yeah, 100%, whether it is family. But I think everybody says, yeah, I'm doing it for my family. That's, for me, it's great and it's commendable. But then it makes me think, if you're capable of so much more, why stop at your family? If you look at the greatest people in history, let's not say greatest, the most influential people in history, the people who actually impacted the world, the way that things are done, that actually changed things, whether it was for good or for worse, they didn't do it for themselves. They didn't do it for their family. They did it for people in general, for society. You can look at it from opposite ends of the spectrum. So if we take somebody like Martin Luther King, he had a vision, he had a dream. Not about that my family is going to sit with another white family. It wasn't that. He said that slave masters and slave owners will come together. He spoke about the world. That's one side of history. Okay? Let's flip it on his head and stay with me on this one. Adolf Hitler. He had a vision for the world once again. It wasn't for his family. It was for people. It was for society. It was for the world. Okay? And if that is your measuring stick, the amount of impact that you can have on the world, then you will keep going. You will keep striving. And both of them, in both cases, lost their lives.
Yeah.
For what they believed in. You know? One was obviously good and one was evil. But the mechanism was the same. It was, how can I impact and affect society in a manner which I believe is beneficial? What is a change I want to make in the world that I want to see more of? Because I had a conversation with one of my friends who is in the barbers the other week, a few weeks ago actually. And we got into this exact same conversation and he goes, yeah, I'm doing it for my kids. I'm doing it for, so I can put them through private school and so on and so forth. And I like playing devil's advocate. I go, okay, you're doing it for your kids. Great. Why? Because I want them to become outstanding individuals. Fantastic. Are there kids who went private school that end up not so great, that possibly end up in the same position that kids do who didn't go to a private school? Yes, there is. Okay. So is that a guarantee? No, it's not. What's more profound is, where are your children going to spend most of their time? Are they going to spend most of their time with you or in society? They're going to spend most of their time in society, right? Not stuck by your side. Their time with you is going to be minimal. So would it make sense to affect society or aim to affect society and be the change that you want to see in society so everybody benefits?
Yeah. Is that
that's what's that, sorry?
Does that align with your goals? Is that what you're striving?
Yeah, I want to have influence. I want to have influence, not from a selfish point of view. I want to change how things are done. I want to change standards. I want to change the agenda that's being pushed nowadays. I want to change the way that the male species, as it were, is the way that we are going. That's what I want to do. That's my objective. That's my goal. I'm doing it for every single man out there.
And it's because men are slowly, as things are getting more comfortable in society, not becoming accountable and not sticking
They're
up.
useless. Most men are useless.
Yeah. I see it all around me.
And they know that, but they can hide. They can hide nowadays. But there will be times in your life where you can't hide, where people need you, people depend on you, when doing the right thing is harder than doing the, what is expected or what is okay in society.
For sure.
You see in the UK. I mean, the UK is getting a lot of press at the moment. It's a fallen state. Why? Because it deviated from the morality, their standards. And then when you look at other areas of the world, whether it is China, whatever you make of their governments, but they have a certain standard. If you look at Russia, they have a certain standard.
For sure.
So that's, I can go into this in much more detail, but for the sake of this podcast, that's essentially what, why I do what I do. And that's what keeps me going, keeps me focused.
I'll get into standards for a bit, but we spoke about goals and like people that achieve big things, they have these massive goals. Do you think most people either have no goals or their goals are too small and that's why they just can't get up and can't keep pushing?
A lot of people have goals. A lot of people have dreams, should I say. A goal is a dream with a plan.
Yeah.
That's the difference. People have dreams. Everybody's got dreams. Not many people got goals. What was the second part of the question that you asked? Sorry.
Like, why do you think people have too small goals, right? To get out of bed and push. And just like the quote I mentioned, once you achieve that goal, or a certain goal, you get a bit of satisfaction, but you don't get the satisfaction that you think you deserve, and maybe you stop. And then there's people that continue pushing. Do you think it's because people's goals are too small?
Yeah, I think that people's goals stop at themselves. That's why it's easy to let yourself off the hook. But with me, you know who keeps me accountable? The men that I'm working with.
Yeah.
They're looking to me. They're looking to me, so they keep me going. If it wasn't for them, it'd be easy for me to say, yeah, bro, I'd still be, maybe not. I can't say for sure. But I can definitely say 100% is when I wake up, when I go through, when I'm trying to grow my business, when I'm trying to improve myself, the people that are at the forefront of my mind are my clients, nobody else. Coaching is one of the most selfless things you can do because the focus shifts away from you. The shift is away from you, moves away from you and onto the people that you're trying to serve. So, yeah, I mean, people do have small goals and they do underestimate what they're capable of. But then once again, like I said, most people don't have goals. It's just dreams and they label them as goals. There's no action. There's no step by step. There's no contingency plan. There's not a review. There's no reporting. Is that really a goal? Can you call that a goal?
I always, when growing up, and I think Sebastian relates to this as well, because Sebastian is very young and doing the complete opposite of all of his friends and getting judged. And it's because both of us have big goals. And I think for me, I always grew up thinking, oh, everyone's got big goals. Everyone's got big dreams. Everyone's got a plan. And then you look around and you get older and you're like, wait a second. There's not many goals. There's not many goals that are taken action upon. So why do you think that is? Do you think it's because of the conditioning, maybe perhaps by the system? Do you think it's because people just are comfortable? What do you think the true reason is?
Yeah. To answer your question, is it conditioning 100%? Because I think as a child, everybody has dreams. Everyone's got a dream when they're a kid. Yeah, everyone's got a dream. But over time, what happens, other people's ideals are pushed onto you. Other people's limitations are pushed onto you, which are coincidentally pushed onto them. So how many of your own beliefs are actually your own beliefs? Very few. Very few. And when you pop out of the pack, like what Sebastian is facing, when you do move away from the pack, you are going to be criticized. You are going to be made fun of. You're going to be mocked. They're going to call you stupid and call you deluded. Why? Because what you're doing doesn't align with their ideals. And as humans, we are pack animals. We don't like to feel like we're an easy target. We don't like to be alone. And just because we don't like that feeling, we'll take on behaviors and beliefs and traits from other people just to fit in. Whether you do it consciously or subconsciously, that's, it is what it is. However, people will let their own dreams and aspirations die because of what they've been told. You'll see that kid in the supermarket running around pretending he's a plane or a dinosaur, and the mom will be like, stop doing that, stop doing that, stop doing that. Over time, that kid then starts to lose confidence. Whereas you've got a parent who's kind of backing them. I know it's a bit silly, but you can be whatever you want to be. You can be a dinosaur today. That's cool. Yeah. What do you reckon those two certain situations where you got child A who's been told, stop doing that, stop being so silly, don't chase that profession, become a doctor, become an engineer, become X, Y, Z, which essentially comes from the parent who's nowhere near that and has never been anywhere near that and has no aspiration. It's only something that they've been told, and then their parents have been told that this is a good, honorable profession. Yeah. Compared to child B, who's like, you can be whatever you want to be. If you want to be a dinosaur today, you can be a dinosaur. It's cool. Who's going to have better self-belief?
Yeah.
Sure. So the second kid is always going to be like, listen, I can do what I want to do. I'm not limited. So it is the system, it is society, and a lot of the time it's our parents, it's the people we're close with, it's the communities that we grew up in, it's our postcode, and that's been sort of a challenge for me, growing up where I grew up and then being where I am. And I know people look at me thinking, has he lost his motherfucking mind? That's fine. Yeah. That's a great signal.
For sure. I think when you learn more about it, the more backlash you get, the more you know that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, everyone becomes a fan in the end.
Yeah.
I knew him when he first started off. Yeah. Everyone's a supporter at that point, but it's that climb is lonely. You feel like you don't connect with people. You feel like the odd one out. And by definition, you are. That's a good thing.
For sure. The more I, connect with people, the more I'm growing up, the more I realize that the average person is very, very lost. And they, you don't want to be average. So when you take the mean person and see what they're going through, out of shape, don't make a lot of money, don't have a lot of purpose, depressed, whatever, because that is the average person nowadays, then you realize you don't want to fit in. Just coming off the back of that, we'll sort of start wrapping this up. What is the biggest goal for Base Alpha? What is the thing that you want to really double down on in 2025 and beyond? What do you want to tell the audience that?
My objective this year is to help 250 men change their lives for the better, earn more money, get in better shape, become a more valuable member of society. And as a byproduct of them achieving those things, society benefits. So I might work with 250 people, but the lives that they can touch in turn will multiply and multiply and multiply. It's like it's like when
a domino effect.
Domino effect. It's like when you drop something in a pond, you see the ripples.
Yeah.
I'm trying to drop that stone, shall we say, into that pond. That's what I'm going to try and do this year.
That's awesome. Awesome, Imthiaz. It was great speaking with you. We'll wrap this up here. And I hope everyone watching got some great nuggets. And yeah.
Been an absolute pleasure, guys.
Awesome.